Hey guys, Icy Cat here. Patch notes are out today with the new technical test server for Operation Bastion starting tomorrow. Now to find out everything that's going to be new with the new season, you'll want to stick around as I go over all of the details next. These are the patch notes for Operation Bastion, so we'll start with what we know here at the top. First up is new operator Nomad. That will be our new attacker. She'll have the AK-74M assault rifle or the ARX-200 with a secondary pistol for the 44 mag semi-auto, which does have a scope on it. She's a 2-speed 2-armor character, and her secondary gadgets will be either breaching charges or flashbangs. She'll have the ability of the air jab launcher as her gadget, which is something that can be detonated and pre-placed as a trap or fired in more of a reactionary manner, and doesn't actually do any damage. It's non-lethal in and of itself and will cause a defender to be projected backward away from the detonation for a few feet and leave them vulnerable as they kind of get back up again. If you played Outbreak, you would remember the very large juggernaut style creatures that when they hit you, you would go flying. It is almost the same effect that her ability produces. Then we have Kade. Now, I've had a lot of people, since I've said his name, kind of go crazy on me for the pronunciation. It is not Kade, it is Kade. It is, a lot of people are applying an American pronunciation to a Moroccan name. But on the live stream for the presentation, you can hear most of the developers do actually use the Kade or Kade pronunciation, but none of them say it as Kade. Now, his weapons will be an SMG for the AUG A3. It's chambered in a 9mm, or he has the shotgun, the TSG-12, which will fire slug rounds that will make it very similar to Vigil's Boss G12 shotgun, but it won't be limited to that 2-round capacity before needing to be reloaded that gun had. He'll also have the same pistol with the 44 mag semi-auto, and his gadgets will be barbed wire or impact grenades. He is a 1-speed 3-armor character. His ability is the Electro Claw, and this allows him to electrify any metallic surfaces similar to what Bandit does, but in addition to reinforced walls, barbed wires, and deployable shields, he can also throw that claw up and electrify hatches from underneath. Then we've got the new map Fortress. We've all gotten a look at that. It has a lot of interesting Moroccan architecture. It is set in a Kasbah, which is a kind of fortress that they have out there, and we're told it has a lot of interesting verticality going on in it with a lot of rooftop access. We get a quick look at the new weapon skins that are coming for this season. So here's the 3 of them pictured, and we can see that these are universal weapon skins. So when you buy them, they do apply for all of the operators that you have in your roster. Another new cosmetic feature that we're getting is the Pro Team BDU and headgear selection. So in the last season, they released the weapon skins that went with these. So you had several of the operators that would have the option of a Pro League weapon skin that matched their team, and now you can get the matching uniform that will go with each of those that have already been released. It's the same operators that the weapon skins were released for last season, but now you can get the full uniform and headgear to match it completely. The shop itself will be getting a little bit of a facelift. They're going for a different color scheme, so we're going to have a lighter themed palette here. The visuals are going to be different overall, and it's just going to make navigation more simple. Additionally, there is now going to be an equip all function at the bottom of the screen, so if you have something that you don't want to necessarily apply across all of the versions of a gun across multiple operators, you can just hit equip all on, say, that really cool MP5 skin and get it immediately on both like Rook and Doc instead of having to go in each of their loadouts. Now let's head over to operator balancing. First up is Mute. He's getting a little bit of a change here to his weapon loadout in that he is now getting the SMG-11 added as a secondary. So previously he could only take the pistol, he didn't have the SMG-11 option. Now he can do either one. This is cool because it makes his pump shotgun a more viable option now. Previously, if you took that, you would only be limited to the semi-auto pistol, and he was the only SAS operator that could not choose the SMG-11. Now, by doing this, it makes the shotgun a slightly more attractive choice. Also, they've buffed the damage on the SMG-11 just a little bit to make it a little bit stronger of a weapon that was hitting a little too soft earlier. Clash is also seeing some slight changes. Her electrical damage is going up from 3 to 5 points of damage. They say that with the last few patches, they wanted to make Clash less frustrating to play against. She's now very weak and underpicked, and that they think that Nomad will be a hard counter against her with her ability knocking Clash back. They say essentially what they're trying to do here is that they want to make her stronger without making her frustrating to play against. So this way Clash will do a couple of points more damage because she can't have that weapon out while she's using her ability, but you didn't have a real hard counter against her before. I mean, Zofia could kind of hit her with a concussion grenade or something like that, and that sort of like partially knock the shield out for just a second. But with Nomad's ability, she's going to be able to be knocked flat on her butt, and that shield will actually go away for a few seconds because she won't be able to keep it in front of her while she's down and until she gets back up again. So she'll be a lot more vulnerable now with the feature that Nomad brings to the table. Legion is getting a slight change as well. His SMG is going to have a bit of a damage decrease. They think that he's pretty good overall, but they thought he was just maybe a little strong, and this slight damage adjustment will help bring him more into line with other operators in their opinion. The final one getting a change is going to be Zofia. So they've reduced the total number of concussion grenades she has from 3 down to 2. So she'll have 2 of the concussion grenades and 2 of the impact grenades. They say that currently she has too many projectiles at her disposal and is able to offer too much utility compared to her other teammates. Then we get into some general tweaks and improvements. So we have throwable gadgets with a trajectory change. They say that they've changed the throw curves for throwable gadgets to be easier and more comfortable to use. All throwables now use this new curve except for the Nitro Cell. The Nitro Cell is not using this new curve as it will be classified in a different category defined as heavy throw. The throwables classified under heavy throws will not reach as far as the regular throw. Also for standard gadgets, this will affect stun grenades, frags, and smoke grenades. Next, they say that beginning with Operation Wind Bastion, they're going to be implementing a new area of effect feature for Kade and Nomad. This is designed to help new players better understand the area of effect when deploying a gadget. This will only be visible for the operator placing the gadget. They say that they recognize that experienced players may not be interested in the visual feedback presented by this change, so players will have the option to disable it in the settings menu. They say that as of right now, this feature will only be available for Kade and Nomad, and they do not currently have plans to add this feature to past operators' gadgets. I'm not sure the reasoning behind that. I do hope that that is something that maybe they would revisit. Most of us, I think, know how to use many of those players with their area of effects now, even for the ones that you can't necessarily see, but you just sort of get a feel for. But it would at least be a help to newer players to the game as they discover these characters and figure out how they work. Next up is subsurface ambient occlusion graphics feature change. They say they currently have 2 different SSAO techniques to render ambient occlusion, SSBC and HBAO+. They say that their 3D team has been working on replacing the HBAO+ with an improved SSBC+ technique. They've done this because they wanted to have control on what is rendered on screen. Overall, this will give them greater control over the implementation of graphics options across all platforms and enables them to see the increase in the overall quality of image rendering across the board. There is no noticeable difference in performance between SSBC and HBAO+. Now they've also revealed to us what the ranked map pool is going to be for the next season. So we have Bank, Consulate, Oregon, Cafe, Consulate, Chalet, Border, Coastline, Skyscraper, Villa, Hereford, Theme Park, and of course the new map, Fortress. The casual map pool will have all of those maps and will additionally have House, Plane, Favela, Canal, Yacht, and Tower. Then after that, they get into the list of all the gameplay fixes. I will put these up on screen here and do this a little differently. In the past, I used to actually read some of the highlights of these off and then refer you to the website for the other ones. And of course, I will still have the link for the original source for the patch notes in the description down below the video player, so you can check those out. But I will just put these up here on screen and not really break them down individually because some of them can be kind of dry and boring to go through. But feel free to pause at any point if you wanted to get a better look at these as they go on in the background. So the patch notes are out now. The new test server phase will be starting beginning tomorrow. That is Tuesday, November 20th. At that time, Operation Wind Bastion will be available on that. I do sometimes get asked the question if the technical test server is something that is ever available on console. It is not. It is a testing environment that is only set up to be workable on the PC. Now, it should be noted that Operation Wind Bastion will be playable on the test server. However, some of that may get changed before it goes live. And that is, in fact, the purpose of having the test server. So you can see what it's like and you can kind of address any major glaring issues before it gets kicked out to all the other platforms for everybody else. For instance, in last season's technical test server, we actually saw Maverick get nerfed a couple of times over the course of the test server as they were kind of seeing how some things were changing with him. And they did wind up making a couple of small adjustments to him before he was released in the full build. Part of the reason that they do this is because it's very easy to make changes on the PC side of the equation. They don't have certain things that they need to do, but to make changes for Sony and Microsoft, it has to go through their certification process first, which actually is a really big, cumbersome thing to do. So when they release something, they have to kind of go through a whole pre-approval process again before they can make another round of changes. Whereas on PC, they can respond to those changes in a matter of hours or a couple of days at most. But once you put something out on Xbox or PlayStation, it's kind of stuck there for at least a little while. This way, they kind of get a chance to iron out the kinks before it gets that far. Now, when the full season does launch on all platforms, there will of course be the 7-day period of exclusivity for season pass holders, after which anybody else can play with those new operators. The map is available to everyone, however, right from the get-go, as always. That test server period usually runs for about 2 weeks, so I would anticipate that that would be right around December 4th or so when we see that go live. Now, of course, there's going to be a ton of information coming out with the new season regarding the new map and the new operators, how everything works, and all the new changes that we're going to be seeing. So if you want to make sure that you stay up to date on all that latest news and information, then do please like and subscribe. Make sure to click that notification icon so you're alerted as soon as new content is available. You can also follow me over at IcyCat25 on either Facebook or Twitter. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.